Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Mandy and today we're going to be talking about a huge lot of advice that my homeschool group recently gave out to new homeschool parents. So we're going to go over some of the most fun, interesting, and true pieces of advice for you brand new homeschoolers. And if you are going to be a new homeschool parent, I have a brand new online course for you, and I will put the link up here or down here or both for you. It is my home education training course, and it is a online course that you can take at your own pace whenever you want, with all kinds of free downloads, my own lesson planner, and all kinds of cool stuff where I show you exactly how I teach my own son here in my classroom. So if it's your first time, make sure that you hit that like and the subscribe button. And we have a huge homeschool group down below in the description, along with my social media channels and anything else that you want to use to follow me. Okay, so I got so many responses on this. I asked in my homeschool group, what is one piece of advice you would give to a brand new homeschool mom for the upcoming year? Because it's summer and everybody's getting ready to gear up for a new year, and there's lots of new homeschooling parents this year. So I cannot wait to get this out there and see what you guys think. There are so many good ones. It's gonna be hard to pick my favorites, but okay. So the first one, don't drink every time you get irritated. It's okay to skip parts of a curriculum if you don't want to do it or your kid hates it. Okay, so I agree with this. There's no point in drinking yourself crazy over homeschooling issues. Don't do it. Just don't do it. However, you can skip parts of the curriculum. I don't want to say skip everything you just don't like, but if it's not important, if it's not a concept that they need, you can skip those. Just be careful doing that with something like math or grammar because they might miss something important. But if it's something like history or science or an elective, use discretion, of course, and then make a judgment call. This is one of my favorites because this is one of my favorite things about homeschooling. If it takes your child 3 weeks to complete or understand a math lesson, it's okay. We are not public school. We don't have to just jump to the next lesson. Mastery is more important than going through the lessons. That is so true. That's actually one of my very favorite things about homeschooling, is that mastery is the most important thing. So it's not like public school where we have only a certain designated amount of time to get through one concept before we move to the next. You can take your time, you can go through these, and you don't have to rush. And if it takes them doing the lesson over several times, that's totally okay. And we have done that in my house. We have retaken tests, we have retaken lessons. Sometimes we have to do them more than twice, maybe 2 or 3 times before we actually get it. Sometimes we have to get supplemental things to totally understand that concept, and that's okay. For me, I know that was long division, but I was public schooled, so I had to get a tutor because they were moving ahead and I did not understand how to do long division. So you won't have to fall into that trap when you are a homeschool parent and child. And that's really great for both of you because you can relax, take a couple deep breaths, and just go through the lesson naturally and have your child learn it at a natural pace. You'll never regret the blessing of extra time you get to spend with your babies, even the old babies. In other words, when you homeschool for 12 years, 12 months, 12 weeks, or even 12 days, nothing can beat one-on-one time with your kids. Very true. Take that to heart. There is so many things that I have enjoyed about homeschooling, and that is my definite number one, is just the one-on-one time that I get. I get to see my children learn. I get to be with them during the day. And no, I don't hate it. I think that there's this conception or this misconception out there that homeschool parents like hate their lives or something because we're always with our kids, and that couldn't be further from the truth. If you have a bad day, the next day is a new day. Very true. Don't let your bad day one day ruin the entire week. Every day is a brand new day. His mercies are new every morning. So when you wake up in the morning, it is a brand new day. Move on to the next subject, move on to the next day, start the day off fresh. And you'll see that kids have this resilience about things like this, and they will just really take to things like that the next day like they're completely different kids sometimes. Don't compare your situation with that of other homeschoolers. Your children are unique, so your learning will be too. Correct. Every child is different. I have a child who's gifted, and I have a child who is at a normal pace. I have two very different children who like very different things, and I have to teach them in very different ways. However, that doesn't mean that one of them is better than the other. And it's kind of like comparing homeschool. When you compare children, it's like comparing your homeschool, your home, to another home. There's no point. It's silly because, and I think that things like Pinterest and Instagram really feed into this monster. So be careful with that. And that's with my own Pinterest too, and my own Instagram. I don't want you to compare your homeschool to my homeschool or what you see in my videos, because my school and my kids are going to be totally different from your kids. You might have kids that love poetry tea time and nature walks. My kids are kind of like, no. That's not going to happen in my house, and that's totally fine. Those are my kids. That's how they're wired, and I'm used to that. However, you might have girls who love poetry and love, you know, sitting around and reading out loud together. That's totally fine. I fell into this trap too, because I felt at the beginning of my homeschool journey, especially, that I had to keep up with this. Like these kids are having a much better time than we are. I mean, they're having snacks during school and drinking tea out of teacups. And then, you know, I remember that I have a teenage boy, and this is just not gonna fly with him. Like, it's just not. So I have to take our homeschool for what it is, our homeschool and my kids, and you have to do the same with yours. So know your kids, know what they like, go from there. Learning doesn't have to just be in a textbook. Bring it to the kitchen, a museum, out in nature, or a road trip. We've done this before. We have taken our books outside before. We have taken them on trips sometimes when, you know, we have something to do during the day, during a school day, and we can't stay home. We have to go, like doctor's appointments or something. And we take clipboards and our worksheets, and we do them while we're sitting in the car, while we're sitting, you know, in a doctor's office or whatever. You can also take things on vacation. I have done it. I have done this on vacation. We actually did a couple hours of school before we went, in the hotel before we went out and did our vacation things. That way we didn't get behind, because at that point I was not a year-round homeschooler, so, but we were on vacation. So you can see, like, there's so many things that you can do, and because homeschool is so condensed, you can get so much more done in 1 hour of homeschool, even if you're out of the house, than you could in a classroom setting. Pray, pray, and pray some more. Yes, Nancy. Don't sweat the small stuff and copy things other homeschool moms do. Very true. I see this on Instagram all the time. Don't worry about the small things. Let it go. It's going to be okay. Even if it doesn't seem like it's going to be okay, some days it really is going to be okay. Don't buy every Dollar Tree workbook you can find. One on each subject will do. True. It's very hard not to buy all of the homeschool things when you see them. Amazon is another one. I am such an Amazon monster, you guys. I have an Amazon problem. You don't need to buy all the workbooks on Amazon, even though they're cheap, because then you'll just have so many that you won't even remember all the ones that you have, and you will never use all of them. Trust me, I know. Do not prep every week of curriculum until you know it works for your family. And do not cut all the binding to all the books for all the subjects for all of your kids until you know the brand is a good fit. This has happened to us before. Now I didn't plan out the whole year, but I have bought curriculum before that did not work out. And I cannot imagine someone going through and planning a whole year in a lesson plan book and it doesn't work out. Oh, that would be terrible. So yes, make sure, especially if you're using a new brand this year, or if you're going to, if you're a brand new homeschooler, use the curriculum for a couple of weeks and decide then if you're going to keep it. Don't just jump ship and plan out the whole entire year. And honestly, I don't like to do that anyway. Personally, I only like to plan 1 or 2 weeks in advance, because sometimes things happen. Like last year, we had a major death in the family and we had to delay our school year by 2 weeks, and that I was trying my hand at the digital planners at that time, and it threw me all out of whack when we came back, because I ended up having to postpone things by about 4 weeks by the time we got home, and it was just a mess. So that, and I deal with a chronic illness, and sometimes I just get sick in the middle of the week, and that throws a total mess into everything. And then I have like a column that I have to move around, and if I have to move a week here and there, it's a mess if I've already planned out like, you know, a month or 2 in advance. So just take it from me, don't do that. And new homeschoolers, use pencil when using your lesson plan book. Don't be a slave to your curriculum. True. I fell into this trip and from the start, and it took me years to get out of that. It honestly takes a lot of people years to get out of it once they're in it. I think I have a unique situation because I was a teacher and curriculum was kind of my specialty, but you don't have to be a slave to the curriculum. You can add things, you can take away things, you can swap things. There's so many things that you can do. I love curriculum. Use curriculum books as a starting point, as like a launching pad. And unit studies are great like this. Like if you're studying ancient Egypt, you can bring in so many resources for ancient Egypt. You can bring in hands-on activities with, you know, with pyramids and all kinds of really cool stuff from like the Nat Geo company. There's movies and there's books and there's media. There's so many things that you can bring in to make a unit like that come alive. So don't be a slave to just what is written, because a lot of times you're going to be really disappointed and there's going to be so many things that you miss out on if you don't really branch out. So look at it as a launching pad and see, is this going to work for me? What kind of learner do I have? If I have more of a hands-on learner, then maybe I should look at some hands-on activities that would work well for this. There's all kinds of things that you can do out there that will make this great for you. If you feel like your child is advanced in a certain subject, but not necessarily inclined with grade age, go for it. Don't hold them back. That's the beauty of homeschooling. You can take it at your own comfortable pace. I love this one because I'm a mom of an advanced learner, and he's actually several grades ahead in certain subjects. He tested out of them, and you know, we don't hold him back. We just let him go. And it's amazing to watch him go at his own pace. He has done such amazing things and we're so proud of him. But if we would have held him back, oh goodness, he would have been so bored. He wouldn't have known what to do with himself. So don't hold back any gifted learners. If they test out of a subject like math, let them go ahead. There's no point in keeping them in kindergarten math if they're ready for first grade. Trust me, you're just going to frustrate them. All right, so that is the first batch that I have. I might actually do a second batch because we have so many more of these. I don't know, we'll see. We'll see if I get more responses on that thread. That's been a super fun one to use. So what is one piece of advice that you would give new homeschool parents? So that's all I got for you guys today. I hope you enjoyed the video and I will see you next time. Happy homeschooling.